Peace. This is a meat and potato sorcery production starring myself, the Water Alchemist, and today's topic for the occult family is Scientology and the Occult. Many religions have a very close connection with the occult, and the Church of Scientology is no different. For those who don't know, its founder is L. Ron Hubbard. Now, L. Ron Hubbard was a living contradiction, and his organization is no different. And you can see this with the agreement that they have with the Nation of Islam currently. L. Ron Hubbard was a bigamist, which is a crime in the United States. He also was involved in child kidnapping, and he had a very, very strained relationship with his children. He has 7, and I think that only 2 remain with the Church of Scientology. The rest defected, and his grandchildren or great-grandchildren don't want anything to do with the organization. But let's get into the topic. L. Ron Hubbard Jr.'s son went into a scathing critique of his father. He said how his father tried to abort him, how his father was into torture and strangulation, which can be proven because it's in a book called The Barefaced Messiah. So this can be proven. And he was so ashamed of the legacy that was associated with him just because of his name. He ended up changing his name to Ronald D. Wolfe. Now, he's no longer here. He made his transition in 1991. But he had said that his father said that he did not believe in the devil. He was the devil. And he was into torture, strangulation, child kidnapping. And his affiliation, I speculate, with Jack Parsons was to know what Jack Parsons knew and take it as his own, just like he took his girlfriend and just like he stole like $10,000 from Jack Parsons. And Crowley had warned him about him. One of the warnings was because they were attempting to do a ritual to bring the goddess Babylon here. That is the mother of anarchy. So Ronald DeWolf talked about how his father wanted to abort him because he wanted a moon child. And Ronald DeWolf did not measure up to that. And he also talked about a blood ritual. This was a ritual that was originally supposed to be done for Babylon. And Crowley said you cannot control a force of nature. There will be consequences for that. But one thing about L. Ron Hubbard's personality, what he couldn't control or dominate, he wanted to destroy. That's a psychopath. So Crowley had warned him about that. You cannot control a god or a goddess. L. Ron Hubbard thought to the contrary. And both of them had said that Crowley and Ron Hubbard did agree on this, that Jesus was not real. Both of them agreed on that. And to answer this other question, did Crowley and L. Ron Hubbard ever meet? No, they did not. And Crowley did not have the highest opinion of L. Ron Hubbard. He seen him coming out the gate. But L. Ron Hubbard, who embellished his history about him being a war hero, etc., he was not that. He was a mediocre soldier, and he really wasn't good at that. L. Ron Hubbard, by his own son's admission, his father had been dabbling with the occult since he was 16 years of age. And he was a Rosicrucian, and he made at least 2 levels, but he let his fees lapse. And he said that going into writing Dianetics, he did this through automatic writing. So he let a spirit guide his hand. And he took from the OTO. That's what L. Ron Hubbard took from. He took teachings from the OTO. He had no problem with tarot as it was about divination. And certain things that he put in there, and you could tell the Crowley influence. because he said you need to work with the master Therion. One book that L. Ron Hubbard really wanted his students to study was Magic in Theory and Practice. He wanted them to study that. So yes, they do deal with magic. And even in the Philadelphia conference, someone that asked about L. Ron Hubbard, he said, I'm the Prince of Darkness. L. Ron Hubbard was a psychopath. And by him trying to work with Babylon, if you try to control any god or goddess, what they're going to do is, this is how goddesses and goddesses work. They take you out slowly. They just don't do it in one whop. Because when L. Ron Hubbard did die, which was 1986, he was an alcoholic, a drug addict, and he also was in the stages of being a paranoid schizophrenic. And that is a fact. And there's a book on him. It's an unauthorized biography, but the book on him is called The Barefaced Messiah. And I do have questions about how people of color can be affiliated with that when he was an unapologetic racist and he was kicked out of the United Kingdom, he was kicked out of Greece, and he was kicked out of Zimbabwe in 1966. These are also facts. So he dealt with aspects of the OTO. So that could take Scientology to the next level. And there was a campaign where during the McCarthy era that the Church of Scientology was getting spied on. But during that time, everybody was getting spied on in the 50s and the 60s. That's a well-known fact. So the things that he was dealing with, Ronald D. Wolfe had talked about that. The blood ritual with Hathor. He talked about how he was, his father was trying to abort him. There's even stuff that's talking about how Parsons, L. Ron Hubbard, and another person were basically having an orgy to produce this moon child. And he said if he couldn't work with Babylon, he would work with Diana. Diana is the Roman goddess of the hunt, but not only just that. Diana is also related to Lucifer. And she does, by her being the lunar goddess, Diana, she plays a part in amplifying anyone's magic because she controls the new moon and the waxing moon. The full moon is controlled by her sister, Selene. So really, when you see the triple goddess, Diana and Selene are a part of that. But L. Ron Hubbard was very shrewd and he was very calculating and he knew exactly what he was doing. So that goes with anything. And the current leader is David Miscavige. And his wife, Shelley, has been missing for how many years? And I want to add this lastly. Tom Cruise is very close with David Miscavige. He has the green light to torture Scientologists if he wants to. So, with that, that is your meat and potato sorcery for the day. I am the Water Alchemist. Be water, my friends. Peace.